Kurt. All right,
Kurt's ready.
let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Thanks to everyone for coming out tonight. So first up, we have the State of the City address. You know, I was fine until Nick showed up and stood in the back with the camera. Thanks, Nick. So good evening and Happy New Year. It was 1 year ago today that I was honored to be elected mayor of Lawrence. It's humbling to think that a year has passed, and tonight I conclude my term as mayor. We've accomplished so much, and it has been a pleasure to serve the city that I love. I've enjoyed serving with my fellow commissioners, all of whom demonstrate an earnest commitment in serving our unique community. I want to especially recognize Commissioner Amix, who finished his 6th term as mayor last year and his 21st year serving on the city commission this year. I think we should congratulate that. Thank you for your dedication to Lawrence. And we want to welcome Jennifer Ananda, who's in the audience tonight, of course, as the newest member of the City Commission. I'm confident that you'll be a valuable contribution to the commission. We had 2 significant staff retirements in the last year. Interim Parks and Rec Director Ernie Shaw retired after 42 years with the city, and Police Chief Tarek Khatib retired after 25 years of service. We would like to thank them both for their years of dedication to our community. Last January, City Manager Tom Marcus kicked off our strategic planning process. Commissioners, staff, and the public all contributed to a 3-month-long process that resulted in a plan that includes a vision for the city, a mission statement, 7 critical success factors, and 8 priority initiatives. The city's strategic plan webpage provides detailed information and updates, and action plans are in place for all 8 of the priority initiatives to help ensure we can fulfill the goal to complete them within 2 years. 2 years is a pretty short time period, as we know. Last year, we touched nearly every department of the city in terms of crafting new plans, policies, and guidelines. All will provide more open decision-making, better transparency, improved guidance as to goals and accountability, and more clearly defined expectations. Here's a few examples. The Transient Guest Tax Fund now has a new decision-making matrix for its advisory board to use. Parks and Rec has a new master plan and formal sponsorship policy. The Transit Department has a new parking systems operations and development plan, which will help us lay the groundwork for future parking improvements. And the Lawrence Police Department now has a mental health team and a newly created community police review board, and we'll be making appointments next year. Or this year, I guess that's this year now. In February, we kicked off the Facilities Conservation Improvement Program, a sustainability program that will provide $11.3 million in energy-saving upgrades to city facilities. It's $11 million. Annual energy and maintenance savings from these projects will completely pay off the debt, making this a smart investment for the city. This was achieved through the leadership of Eileen Horn, the City and County Sustainability Coordinator. Eileen is moving on to new opportunities, but she leaves this and other sustainability programs as part of her good legacy. I don't know if she's in the audience tonight, but thank you to everything that she did. The city's new economic development incentive program, the Catalyst program, has already had its first applicant win approval this fall, and they are expected to break ground this coming spring. Looking forward to that. On Election Day, November 7th, voters approved 3 special use sales taxes totaling 0.55% for infrastructure, public transit, fire equipment, and affordable housing. Voter turnout for the election was 23.5%, and all 3 questions passed with a clear majority. I'm invigorated by the work that the Affordable Housing Advisory Board has done to establish priorities and approve projects that will help us enhance and provide affordable housing for more residents. I can't wait to see those new projects break ground next year. And with a permanent stream of revenue from the new sales tax, I'm very optimistic about their future achievements. And last year, we made significant progress on 3 complicated road projects: Queens Road, Castle Road, and East 9th Street. Downzoning the East Lawrence neighborhood from multifamily zoning to single-family zoning will give greater confidence to residents that the neighborhood that they loved and built will continue to focus upon owner-occupied properties and also help to protect an important pocket of affordable housing in our city. In that same neighborhood, work continues to progress on the restoration of the historic Santa Fe Depot. We appreciate Diane Stoddard's work on this important initiative and the collaborative efforts from KDOT and Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway to revive and conserve this one-of-a-kind landmark. Thank you, Diane. My motivation to run for City Commission was to help find solutions to areas I saw as challenges for our community. Primarily, those areas included public safety, budget priorities, economic development, affordable housing, and cultural amenities. I'm pleased with our progress, and I know we will continue to work together to contribute to Lawrence's future. I want to say thanks to our City Manager, Tom Marcus, and all of City staff, people who consistently work to exceed our expectations and are very much the public face of city services. Our community relies on you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I know that many of you go beyond your job responsibilities to serve our community. I appreciate your work and understand the demands that fall on your shoulders. Thank you all for your dedication. And finally, I want to thank the people of Lawrence for giving me the opportunity to serve on this commission. It's a special privilege that I take very seriously. This summer, I had 2 young girls ask for my autograph after the Pollinators mural rededication ceremony. I was so touched by that. Inspiring women of all ages is something that motivates me and something we must always work harder for. Thanks again, and best wishes to all in the new year. I can't wait to see what 2018 will bring for us. Can you slide this down to Rochelle, if she's down there, please? Thank you. It's good to see a full house for this, too. Sorry, Nick, I was looking down most of the time. I'm sure you'll get a good one later. All right, so now we'll move on to our recognitions and proclamations. First up, we have proclaimed the week of January 8th through 15th, 2018 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Week, and I believe we have a representative. Come on up to the microphone and tell us who you are and what you know.
To the mayor, the city manager, the mayor, commissioners, my name is Leo Barbie Jr., pastor of the Victory Bible Church, but also the president of the Ecumenical Ministers Fellowship and chairman of the Martin Luther King Planning Committee. We want to say this evening how grateful and how thankful we are for your participation and for your support for over 30 plus years. So we want you to know how much we appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. Because we know you have a budget to fulfill, and we know that you don't have to support us, but we're grateful and thankful for your support. Our theme this year is pursuing oneness through righteousness in the bond of peace. Ephesians 4:3, Acts 10:34 and 35. We use scripture on all of our presentations. One, because Martin Luther King was a pastor. We forget that. He was a pastor. He was a minister. We also use scripture to guide us in selecting our theme, so that we can have some kind of theme that is relevant to our situation, to our circumstances, state, nation, and world. As you know, our world is in a state of turmoil. You know, we need a lot of work to be done among all of us. So we want to pursue a oneness in our community, here in the city of Lawrence, in the Douglas County, and we do it under the act of righteousness. We do it peacefully. We do it lovingly, we do it kindly, we do it in a way that is respectful, because we want to be an asset to this community and not a liability. Pastor Doolin would just say a word, and then we listen to the proclamation.
Thank you.
I'll just say ditto to what he's already said. I think that speaks volumes of what it's all about. Your program says the 32nd, that's the 32nd gospel explosion. This is actually the 33rd year of the celebration in Lawrence, and I think it's very necessary. It's been very good, and there's still much work that needs to be done. But God bless you, and thank you for your support.
And we hope you attend the gospel musical on this Sunday evening at 6:30 to Free Methodist Church.
If you have more copies of this, you can leave them on the back podium as well for people to pick up.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the theme of this 33rd annual celebration is uniting as one in righteousness and the bonds of peace, and by such an event we are reaffirming our rights as citizens and the liberties that we enjoy, and we are expressing our hopes, dreams, and beliefs possible in the United States. And whereas we rededicate ourselves to the truths that he strove for in this special year of commemoration, we thus engage in the valuable activity of reserving a day or days toward that end, and we recall the legacy that the Reverend Dr. King created. And whereas the Reverend Dr. King stated, I am convinced that love is the most durable power in the world. It is not an expression of impractical idealism, but of practical realism. Far from being the pious injunction of a utopian dreamer, love is an absolute necessity for the survival of our civilization. To return hate for hate does nothing but intensify the existence of evil in the universe. Someone must have sense enough and morality enough to cut off the chain of hate and evil, and this can only be done through love. And whereas the Ecumenical Fellowship, the City of Lawrence, and the Jayhawk Breakfast Rotary Club, along with other community institutions, are all cooperating to support the activities planned for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday and encourage citizens of Lawrence to show their commitment to continue to develop Dr. King's vision by participating in them. Now, therefore, I, Leslie Soden, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, do hereby proclaim the week of January 8th through 15th as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Week. Thank you for coming tonight. All right, so now we'll move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed below on the consent agenda are considered under one motion and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Members of the public wishing to speak to an item that has been pulled off the consent agenda will be limited to 3 minutes for comments, and we do have the shot clock over there. Is there an item on the consent agenda that a member of the commission wishes to remove? Okay. Is there an item on the consent agenda that a member of the public wishes to remove? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda with the addition of claims.
So moved.
For a total of 209 vendors for a total of $5,746,614.51.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Amick, second by Commissioner Larson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, so now we are on to general public comment. Addressing the commission, the public is allowed to speak to any items or issues that are not scheduled on the agenda after first being recognized by the mayor. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for public comment. As a general practice, the commission will not discuss, debate those items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Rather, they will refer the items to staff for follow-up if necessary. Individuals are asked to come to the microphone, sign in, state their name and address. Speakers should address all comments, questions to the commission. So, is there any general public comment for something not on the condition, not on the agenda?
My name is Frank Jansen, 1380 New Hampshire. Only have 2 words. Governor Amix.
Any other public comment items? It's for items not on the agenda. Amix is on the agenda, so you don't have to do that now. All right, so we'll move on to regular agenda. Number 1, receive comments from Mayor Soden and City Commission. Well, my comment is, of course, that I've very much enjoyed working with this commission, and I've appreciated everything that's gone on. It's been 2 years now, since we've been commissioners together. And of course, with Commissioner Amix, had 2 years with you. I don't know who I'm going to tell jokes to. Maybe Matthew, off to the side, during the meeting. But we do have something nice for you. Would you like to see it?
Not yet.
I hid it in my scarf. I'm going to give it to you now.
I guess I'm getting kicked off quick. I'll make the game.
I wrapped it in my scarf. You might have already seen it, though. Be careful, it's heavy. Oh, there's, oh, look at that. Something fell out of there. Look at that. It's the hidden key to the city.
Oh, no. This is to Mike Amix for your many years of dedication and service to the citizens of Lawrence, Kansas.
Thank you very much for all that you've done.
That's pretty nice. Wow.
Well, shall we take other comments from commissioners and then we'll have you speak last. How does that sound?
Sure, whatever.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how many people know this. I'm sure quite a few of you, but Mike began his political career in 1983. Is that right? So, you know, that's an incredible amount of service to this community. As far as I know, no one has ever held the mayor position as many times as Mike has in the entire history of our community. And so that in and of itself shows a level of dedication to our community that's it's never been seen before. But what I've appreciated most about Mike is, you know, a lot of us came to this commission with very little experience. I mean, for three of us, it was our first run at politics. And then almost immediately upon being seated, we lost a member of our commission under some pretty terrible circumstances. And so we were left in a position where we had four of us spinning in circles, you know, chasing our tails. And I think the one thing that held us together consistently was the fact that on any given Tuesday, we knew that we were making decisions not as a group of complete novices, but as a group that had somebody at the helm who had unprecedented degrees of leadership for our community. And it's an incredibly comforting feeling to sit beside you each Tuesday. I don't know if you realize that, but it really is. But for me, the most remarkable thing about Mike has always been that every single Tuesday, whether we agree on a vote or not, and you know there are times where we don't. I had the great honor of getting to vote against him on his last vote. That's pretty exciting stuff. But whether we agreed or not, every single Tuesday, we'd leave this room and we'd walk to the parking garage together. And that also is an unbelievably reassuring feeling that when you're sitting up here with people and tensions run pretty high, pretty regularly, it's really comforting to know that at the end of the day, even when you know you take a left-hand turn and they take a right, that you're both going to meet up at the same place and that you still have each other's back. And I'll say that one last thing, probably the greatest thing I've appreciated about Mike has nothing to do with what he does on a Tuesday night, but rather just his personality outside of this room. What you see from Mike is not for show. This is not for camera. I mean, this is not so he can win Frank's vote for governor. When I walk downtown with my daughter, we'll walk past Mike's barbershop, and it doesn't matter how many customers he has waiting in line or who he's dealing with. He'll put down what he's doing. He walks outside of his barbershop, and he gives my daughter a fist bump. And I got to tell you, it's amazing that you have found a way to actually steal my daughter's vote from me. We did an event at Peasley Tech, and I think it was Bonnie Lowe came up to her and said, "Ren, do you watch commission meetings?" And she said, "Yeah." And she, "Who's your favorite commissioner?" And of course, the expectation was that she was going to say her dad. Without fail, she said Mike Amix. And, you know, she's a smart kid and she's not wrong. You know, I've sincerely, it's been an honor to get to sit beside you, and it's made me a better person. It's made me a better commissioner, and I'm truly going to miss you. So, thanks.
Well, you know, there are a lot of faces in the crowd here tonight that served with Mike in one of his many terms as city commissioner. And there are some faces upstairs on that wall of mayors that served with Mike as well. He's got numerous pictures in various disguises. He actually appears as that young man that Matthew was talking about. And you got to go up and check that out just to see it. But my experience with Mike has been from April of 2015 now as a commissioner. And we've been through a lot. And he's really been the glue that held us together. And I appreciate that so much. I'm sure that there are other folks in the crowd here who could tell stories about how he provided glue to their commissions too. And you've taught us some really valuable lessons in leadership, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, Mike, I don't think there's really any more words that could express how I feel about you, that's for sure. But I will say this, when I first got on the commission a couple years ago, and I was standing up there and going through the questions that the commissioners were asking, the one thing when I looked up here was I didn't know anybody except for Mike. So it was quite daunting, but I knew that Mike Amix presented something that was more solid than anything in Lawrence that I've ever known. So I was really appreciative to have the opportunity to work for him, or with him, I should say. And you've been a crutch for me, and thank you very much.
My turn.
It's your turn now.
Well, you're all very kind in your comments, but I'll tell you one thing. This body is not about Mike Amix. This body is about our great city. And that's truly what it's about. When I stop and I think about it, in 1983, I had the great privilege to be elected with David Longhurst, Ernie Angino. I served on a commission at that time that would include members of Nancy Shantz and of Barclay Clark.
Wow.
Now that's a long time ago, but it was something to behold. The public approved a 29-year-old to sit on this board. Now, I was taught by people who understood how to run for office to do one thing: only answer what they ask. Nobody asked me how old I was. And Lord knows I wasn't going to offer it. But I had the opportunity to work with some really good people over the years. I see people in this crowd tonight that I'm very proud to say that I served with. I see Hugh Carter, I see David Shawner, I see Mayor Hack, I see, the list goes on and on and on. I just see people everywhere, Bob Shum, Boog Heiberger. What an incredible feeling to be able to see all of you in the crowd tonight and realize the time and the commitment that you have done for the citizens of the city of Lawrence. You know, I stop and think that it was a long time ago that I was elected. And I stopped and I thought, well, what are some of the changes in town? Shoot, when I was first elected, I think we had a Walmart at 27th in Iowa. I think we only had one. I stop and think, you know, we might have had some vacant buildings in downtown, but we didn't have the tall buildings on New Hampshire Street, and we didn't have any number of things, you know, that we have in strong downtown. I stop and think about, you know, obviously we didn't have a South Lawrence traffic way, and we didn't have an industrial park out east, and we didn't have, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, there's so many things that we have today that we didn't have way back when. Golly, that seems like a long time ago. But it gives me a great pleasure to realize that as I drive around town, see our fingerprints on all the projects that we have. I was trying to think this morning, okay, what would I really talk about tonight? And I've had 6 months to think about this. And I was still thinking about it 4 o'clock this afternoon. Marilyn will attest to that. And one of the things that happened was I was sitting there thinking, I got nothing. And then I stopped and thought, hardly. I've got everything. I've got everything to be proud of, not only in the community that I've been so fortunate to be able to serve and be a part of, but to be able to look at the good friends that I've been able to find over the years of service here. And not only the friends in the commission, but, you know, the friends of the folks who have come down and presented so many things to us, and the learning experience I've had. You know, folks, this is the greatest job in the world. I mean, it truly is. To be an elected official in the city, at the city commission in the city of Lawrence, Kansas. What a great, vibrant community. You know, we discuss everything. You know, no matter what it is on a Tuesday night, we discuss it. And, you know, we eventually, we make decisions, but we put a lot of impact, a lot of talk. We do a lot of things, but we do them well. You know, we're very fortunate to be able to have that time to be able to come up with such a great community. We have people who want to live here because of the services that we provide, because of the staff that we have, because the businesses that we have, so many things that we have to offer. We don't have to take a back seat to anybody. We are a great community, and one that we can all be proud of, and one that we should stand up and defend every day. There are people that'll say bad things about us. That should never be heard. We should never, ever take a back seat to anyone. Stand up and fight for what we've got here. It's something to be extremely proud of. Something I am so proud of. You know, for a kid to grow up in Lawrence, Kansas, and ultimately end up in the center chair of this commission is truly something to be proud of. Jennifer, we're going to welcome you to the City Commission in a little bit. You know, it's a great body to serve on. When you're standing there and to the other two, as you take the oath, take that oath very serious. I know that you do. It's something that when you're protecting the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the community, it's something that is so important to do. It's something to look past, maybe sometimes that you don't see it. You know, I stop and think of the reasons that I got into this job. And some of the, you know, one of the main reasons was, and I think that Mayor Longhurst and I shared the same thing early on, is we wanted a strong downtown. And that it was something that was so important to us and so many commission members in the past and still today. And it's something that I'm so proud of as we drive up and down and walk up and down our streets. It's something that is it's so great. We have people that come just to see our downtown and to be a part of it. It's our town square, has been said in the past. It's so many things to so many people. You know, we have strong neighborhoods, and, you know, the commission as they go forward. We need to be pushing for those strong neighborhoods. We need to be looking at compatibility. We need to be looking at neighborhoods that work and things that we can be proud of. Places where people want to live, where they want to raise kids, they want to send their kids to school, be a part of a great neighborhood. They're all over this community. And we can only make them stronger as a body. You know, I look at where we are and where we've been, and, you know, I can sit here and probably talk all night, but I forgot to bring my scissors, and I can talk longer using my scissors. And that has happened, boy. I got this. But I do want to thank some people. Tom and Diane, thank you all. Diane, thanks for helping me get through a couple of years ago. The secret is I didn't do all this stuff. Diane did, you know. So anyway, we did pretty well. Tom, it's great to have you here and all the experience that you have. You continue to develop such a dynamite staff and the services that you all provide that people, you know, truly expect today. Again, to this commission, Mayor Soden, thank you for all of your leadership in the last year. It's really been neat to see you be able to develop into the leader that you are today and all of the work that you provided. It's wonderful. Matthew, it's been a privilege sitting next to you, and, you know, As some nights, Matt would get on me because I'd say that, could we speed things up? There's a ball game, Tonight, I got a ball game I'm going to watch, but anyway, no. Stuart, best wishes in becoming the next mayor of the city of Lawrence. I know that you'll do extremely well. If you ever have questions, you know where I'm at. Lisa, as vice mayor, learn as much as you can this next year because you'll need it a year from now. It'll be great. You'll do wonderful. Jennifer, I look forward to having you sitting here, and I'll be sitting next to Marilyn. The only bit of advice that I have for you and all the commission is that we are counting on you. In any type of city that is moving ahead and with all the things that we've got going on, we're counting on you. And I mean, that is something that is so neat. I can't let this go by. I've got a great staff at my barber shop. They've put up with me the last, I don't know, forever. I've got the greatest customers in the world because they put up with me forever, and I want to thank all of them for all the work my employees have done, and all the customers that have been such a great part of my life, helped me when I've made wrong decisions, and helped me when I've made right decisions. Marilyn? Probably the greatest thing that's ever going to happen is I'm going to introduce myself as Marilyn's husband. I'm looking forward to spending a whole lot more time around the house and a lot more time around the barbershop, so that'd be great. But thank you for your commitment also. I want to thank my brothers. I want to thank our son. I want to thank my sisters-in-law, everybody from my family. When you elected me, you didn't realize you were going to elect a whole family, because the greatest advice around comes from my family. I mean, I've got brothers, my brother John and Ron. I mean, tell you, if I vote wrong, I will hear from them. And, they're my greatest cheerleaders. My buddy Moody, Bob Moody, Mayor Moody. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, Moody gets a call. If I'm having a good day, Moody gets a call. You get a call at halftime of a basketball game, so I don't disrupt things, any other time. But no, he has been somebody, it's been great, along with his wife Patsy, just great friends. Alan, thank you. And just everybody. It's been super. This job is a great job. It's given me the opportunity to do so many things. I got to go to Germany, and I got to represent you all at a sister city's 25th anniversary of our agreement with Eutin Germany. I was in their city hall, and I was talking, and I was so taken back by standing there and looking outside that window and seeing our city flag flying. And if that doesn't choke you up, nothing else, there's nothing that can bother you. I mean, but that really did. It was an extremely proud moment. I got to meet President Obama in our community. Now, I'm telling you what, that's something that every night, well, almost every night anymore, when I'm on that bicycle as I'm inside the house, and that picture of the president and I shaking hands, that's pretty cool. And I couldn't have done that without everybody here. It's a great job, guys. I hope some of you get the opportunity to be able to enjoy it. And I hope any of you ever want to talk about running for this job, please come see me. Come see any of these folks. It has been truly a privilege and an honor to represent each and every one of you. There's been times that we've been, my goal was always to make sure that you left smiling. We may not have agreed, but if you left smiling, I had you. That was always my goal. 2018 is going to be a wonderful year for our community. We've got great leadership sitting here. Let's encourage them. Let's help them. Remember, our community's far more than one person can ever be. But you know what? We got the greatest community throughout this state, probably throughout this country. We are Lawrence, Kansas. Let's don't forget it. Thank you all so very much for everything. Oh, and thank you very much, so very much for the plaque.
Just think Bobby, too.
Bobby, thank you. Where'd
There
she
she
go?
is. All right.
Person that runs the place.
Bobby does
Yeah,
run this
she
place
does.
quite a bit. She's super awesome. Okay, so we'll take public comment, but I do ask you to keep it brief. If you have any longer comments you'd like to make to Mike, perhaps leave it for the 20-minute recess that we have. I'd really appreciate that. So, any public comment about how awesome Mike Amix is?
No.
I can't resist. I'm David Longhurst, and I was privileged to serve with Mike in 1983. And there's something that I've always remembered, Mike, and I don't remember all the details, and I don't remember exactly when, but around the time that we had just been elected, somebody was asking us, you know, how do you feel about being a city commissioner? And people like me answered, well, you know, the opportunity to promote our community and economic development and city services and, you know, blah, 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 like that. When you were answering, you said, well, you know, I got a phone call one time from this lady, an elderly lady, and she was having a problem with something, and I don't even remember what the problem was, but a problem like with her water bill or something. And
Do you remember
she
what it
didn't know who to talk to. So she called me. That's why I'm here, is to take care of the citizens of our community. And that's exactly your personality, exactly. Fatheads like me are in it for, you know, the prestige and, you know, helping, you know, development and all that kind of crap. You're in it for the everyday citizen to take care of them. And to this day, I remember distinctly your personality, and I've seen it ever since. That's your personality, and it's been a great asset for our community, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Any other short comments? Okay. All right, so now we're on, oh, look at that, we got another one.
Sorry, I'm not as quick as I used to be. My name is Bob Shum, former city commissioner. First of all, congratulations to the newly elected Jennifer. Congratulations. Lisa, congratulations. Matthew, congratulations. I'm sure it's going to be a good commission, very good commission. And now for you, Mike. Mike and I served several years together at different times, not always voting the same way on different issues, but as it's been stated here earlier, even though we all gave it the best effort we could for whatever our position was, we never got so bent out of shape that we couldn't enjoy each other in general terms and allow for a general level of camaraderie to exist that was very successful in the overall success of the commissions. So I thank you for that, Mike. It was always a pleasure to serve with you. I didn't like it when you voted a different way than I voted, but
You
I
voted
still.
wrong.
See what I mean? But thanks for your service. Congratulations to you, and I hope you enjoy your Tuesday nights off. Good night.
Thanks.
The fried chicken at Hank's Charcuterie Tuesday
is,
nights. Any other brief comments? Okay, now we're on to number 2. The city clerk will conduct swearing in of newly elected city commissioners. Not yet.
Take a hike, Mike.
No, I just told you I was stay here a little
She
longer.
said I got to stay.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Silver,
Do solemnly and sincerely
do solemnly and sincerely
declare and affirm
declare and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of City Commissioner
and faithfully discharge the duties of City Commissioner
for the City of Lawrence, Kansas,
for the City of Lawrence, Kansas,
during the term for which I was elected,
during the term for which I was elected,
and this I do
and this I do
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations.
Enjoy the game.
Where's Jennifer? Jennifer, come and sit right here briefly.
Congratulations.
You sure did. We already got a thing. Mike, you forgot your nameplate. Mike's not named it, I think. No, here's this, you got it. You even have your own folder.
You just come back and get it next Tuesday, it'll be fine.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 3. Oh, I guess we should do public comment for number 2. Is there any public comment that anyone has for the swearing in? Brief comment, of course. Okay, we're going to go on to number 3. We're going to conduct the election of the mayor. I'll move to our thorough list here. So first of all, I'm going to call for nominations for the office of mayor.
I nominate Stuart Bowley.
Second.
Okay. So moved by Commissioner Larson, seconded by Commissioner Herbert to nominate Vice Mayor Boley as mayor. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Did I do it
You
wrong?
want to close the nomination?
It's not on here, though. Sherry, I still didn't do it right for you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I did do it right, Stuart.
Voting?
All right, so let's vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we shuffle again.
No.
Now we need to close the nominations if there are no other nominations for mayor, so someone will need to
Goodness
move
gracious.
that.
We already voted, so I would think it's too late for nominations.
We just voted to nominate, then we'll have to vote for him.
Oh, this is like a
him as
whole,
mayor. Then you
interesting.
will have, yeah.
Details.
Details, that's right. All right, so now we need a motion to close the nominations.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Larson, seconded by Commissioner Herbert. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, so now we shuffle. Sharon?
Now you need somebody, we would need a motion to elect
Oh my
Stuart
gosh.
Foley as mayor.
I'm too anxious to move to the left, I think. All right, so now we're going to actually do them. I'll just move to make Vice Mayor Boley mayor.
Second.
Motion made by Mayor Soden, seconded by Commissioner Herbert. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We got 3 times.
Third time's the charm.
Okay, now we can shuffle. Mayor, now, Mayor Boley, now it's your deal. Yeah, here you
We'll
go.
just sit here until after.
Here's your globe.
We'll just.
Do I have a second?
With number 4, conduct the election of the vice mayor. So I'll call to receive nominations for vice mayor.
Nominate Lisa Larson.
Second.
Okay, so we have a nomination from Commissioner Herbert, second by Commissioner Nanda. We'll have a vote on that nomination. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, Sherry, we close the nominations? Unless, okay, so.
Move to close.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Herbert, Commissioner Larson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now to a motion to elect Lisa Larson as vice mayor, which I will make. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Soden, all in favor?
Thanks, David.
Aye.
Aye.
So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna shuffle.
Have a
You're the
seat,
mayor
have a
now,
seat.
so
Yeah, I know.
I'm not the chair anymore.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll shift everything after the reception.
Okay.
So, the fifth item is comments from
You
the
guys
mayor
shift
and
your-
commission. Oh,
I'm
you're,
gonna stay in the hot seat. We have to make it.
you're on it. Thank you, Commissioner Soden. Okay, so we're on to comments from the mayor and commission. I'll just start off by saying thank you to my fellow commissioners for providing me with the opportunity to serve in this position. I expect that we'll have a busy and productive year.
Yeah, I just say thank you to my commissioners, obviously, for your support. Appreciate it very much. Thank you to the citizens of Lawrence for supporting me in the election. I appreciate that very much, and I'm very much looking forward to this year. It's going to be a very exciting year, I think, where we have a lot of work to do, and I'm ready to get started. Thank you.
I just want to thank the citizens of Lawrence as well. I said when I was campaigning that this one meant a whole lot more to me than the first one did. I think anybody can get invited to a party, but getting invited back is the hard part. And it's a true honor to have received the vote of confidence from this community. And just on a personal note, I'm truly honored to get to serve as far as I understand it, the first majority female commission we've had in this city's history. It's an honor to me as an elected official, as a teacher of government, but more importantly, as a father of a daughter. I think our community is taking strides and progressing in ways that other communities aren't ready for yet. And I'm proud to live in a community where that's happening. And I hope that this is a first step to where, whatever my daughter chooses to do in her life, I hope that this is an indication that in this community, her gender will be no obstacle to her success in whatever she may choose. And God forbid that be politics, but whatever she may choose. But mostly I just want to, again, thank the community for the support you've given me and the opportunity at sitting in this chair for 2 more years, and I'll do everything I can to serve with professionalism and integrity and do what I hope you've put me here to do.
I've been told that I have big shoes to fill in Mike's absence, but I have no intention of trying to fill those shoes because they're very different shoes from the shoes that I wear. So I will strap on my boots, and I will be here, and I will be doing the work, and I really look forward to that. When I was campaigning, I said that, I have principles, and I will be true to those, and that's my intention. But I look forward to working with all of the other commissioners here. I'm thankful for all of the experience. I'm certainly thankful to all of you for the opportunity to represent our community as a whole and the future of our community, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's equally important as the mother of 2 sons to show the female majority on the city commission, and that means just as much to me as being elected for me and for our community. So thank you all. I hope to be incredibly accessible to you. Please feel free to contact me, of course, as the community does. But I want to clearly state that I am accessible, and I'm really excited about the work that we have coming up and for the future of our community. So thank you. I'm so humbled and so honored, and that is how I intend to serve you all.
Well, I'm truly blessed to be surrounded by commissioners that are way more eloquent than I am. I may be the jokester, but everyone knows that I'm actually very serious about what I do, and I just feel like you have to kind of take things with a grain of salt if you can. And so I appreciate everyone's respect that we've had in the last 2 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 years at having a female majority as well. I think if anyone thinks we're all going to just agree on issues and vote the same way, I think that they really don't understand the female majority at all. So I'm really looking forward to showing what representation really looks like in this community. So thank you.
So before we go to the recess, I have something for Leslie Soden.
Oh, my goodness.
Presented to Leslie Soden for your outstanding leadership as the mayor of Lawrence, Kansas, January 9, 2017 to January 8, 2018.
Thank you. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Thank you.
And I guess, since I'm mayor now, I guess I can talk a little bit before the recess. I won't be rushing right out. I do have some thank yous to say. Thank you so much to the staff for the work that you're putting in, the work that you have put in, and the work that you're going to be doing during the next year. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you. And I want to thank the citizens of Lawrence. One of the things that's going to be cool for me about this new responsibility is that it very well may be an opportunity to be listened to in a little bit different way, and for me to listen to people in a little bit different way. And that's one of the things that's really exciting for me about this new responsibility. And I need to say thank you to my family and friends who've provided me with support in the last 3 years, and who I'm going to be counting on in the next couple of years. I really do appreciate, everything that you've provided that's helped me, and including criticism. It kind of goes that way sometimes. But there are so many wonderful people in this community. That's what makes this job worth doing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, we're going to have a motion to recess for 20 minutes.
Do you want to make that motion?
I will make that motion.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Bowley, Soden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. after our 20-minute recess. So we're on to commission
Ring
items.
the gavel to get everyone.
Oh, come on.
What's a
We're
serious
back.
thing?
We're back. Commission items.
I have a commission item.
Okay.
I'd like the commission to have some kind of discussion, whether on a regular agenda item or a work session agenda, about having some kind of policy for cameras downtown, perhaps looking at adding cameras, that kind of conversation.
Okay.
You want it as an agenda item or as a work session?
We can either start first with the work session item, or it can be a regular agenda. If we're ready to take action, of course, we should make it a regular agenda
that-
item if we just want to have a discussion first. But we will need a lot of information beforehand, I think, before we can even start discussing it. So whatever, I guess, staff thinks might be best on that.
Yeah, what I think the way to start that would be is maybe to make a motion asking staff to research the idea. Now, I presume you're asking for cameras for the purposes of providing security in the downtown area. Is that your purpose?
Is there another purpose that we would do it for, I guess?
Well, I suspect that those that would be opposed to it will come up with all sorts of alternative reasons why we may be doing it. You have to understand that this is an issue that across the country is going to create some dialogue.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely understand there's
Good.
privacy issues. That's why I'm not just demanding that we add some
Yeah.
and it should be on the regular agenda and then we're done.
So I think probably what we would do is have the police and maybe other departments that would find that information of value, tell you why they would use it and what data that they would be using. I think the other thing we'd want to do is have kind of a legal review from our city attorney as to the plus minus of the issue itself, the legality of how you can use the information, the ability for someone to FOIA information, how we use the information, how we retain the information, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so it's not unlike the body camera issue to some degree, which, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion, is much more invasive than cameras in a downtown mounted setting. But having had experience with both body cameras and fixed cameras in different jurisdictions, and having solved cases with them, I know the value of them. I also know the concerns of those individuals that would be concerned with the daily goings-on of individuals that would be, captured on camera and film. So I understand, and you, I'm sure do too, that there's two sides to this issue, and we're gonna hear them both. So without necessarily taking a hard position or recommendation one way or the other, we can at least expose the issue, and I think that would be best during a work session.
Okay, works
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. Other
So a
commission-
motion, I think, if you're gonna ask us to do that, I think a motion would be appropriate.
So we do a motion during commission items? Okay. Do you want to make a
motion to
motion?
direct
Never made a
staff.
motion during commissions. Well, I'll move that we direct staff to look at the issue of using cameras downtown, and if we want to use more of them, how we would keep that data, how it would be used. Would they be 24-hour cameras,
And the legal implications.
legal implications,
Thanks.
et cetera.
Based on this conversation.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion, Commissioner Soden, a second, Commissioner Herbert. I think we need to add the celebrations to the calendar. Okay. Also, Tom had a suggestion about our next regular commission meeting.
January 16th, because of the way the year fell this year and this meeting, trying to isolate away from, a lot of business items, this 16th will be a rather busy meeting, and I would encourage you to consider starting that early, even as early as 4:30 if you're so inclined to do it. because I think we're going to have a lot on. We have commercial recycling business plan, public hearing of vacation of the pedestrian issue, which was on a previous meeting and we kicked over so that the neighbors had a chance to talk. The charter ordinance, which was on the alternative construction methods, continued public hearing on Fairfield Farms, vacation of easement, another thing that was, I think, carried, or maybe, yeah, carried over. Clarification of public comment on agenda. Which one is that? Consider,
A revision to make sure that people know when they can comment.
oh, yeah, that was on the item of managers' reports and being able to comment.
Right.
Consider approval of ordinance 9129 to authorize addition of 3 members to affordable housing. So there's a conversation there.
And the trust fund application.
And the trust fund application as well, recommendations, and recovered accounts receivable funds and possible lowering of. So we had a conversation at a previous meeting, if you recall, old what's-his-name that used to sit where you're sitting, Commissioner
Don't
Amix.
recall.
Yeah, don't recall, good response. We had a conversation about the recovered funds through accounts receivable and how, what was going to happen with it. And doing nothing, quite frankly, the funds would redound to fund balance by the end of the year. Former Commissioner Amix raised the issue that somehow that money should be returned to the taxpayer. Well, the reality is, it would cost quite a bit of money to just send checks to all the taxpayers, so that the way you would do that potentially is to reserve the funds, and so that after you determine what your budget is for calendar 19, you would have that money in reserve that you could lower that tax rate based on what you determined you wanted. So I've directed staff to prepare a recommendation in that regard for your consideration. You get to vote it up and down, whatever you want to do. Ultimately, it's your decision how those funds get used.
We can't lower next year's or this year's?
No, that's already out and gone. So it would have to be in the following year, so it would have to be kind of reserved for that purpose. But that's an item that we're contemplating bringing forward. And then an executive session on employee performance. So that's also on that same meeting. So there's a lot going on. So I would suggest you start early.
I'd be interested in doing that if we could structure the agenda in such a way to kind of make it back-heavy, I suppose, so that all of the issues that folks would really, we can anticipate a larger
The people
crowd.
that will be here, yes.
Right,
try to
I
do
don't want
that.
to
Yeah.
put us in a situation where we knock somebody off the opportunity to public comment because they've got to work till 5 if we're starting at 4:30, but there's a lot of stuff there that
Oh, I see. So your concern is more about starting too soon.
kind of organizing the agenda in a way to anticipate
Maximize.
the crowd and put the crowd stuff at the end and the stuff that's frankly administrative at the
The
beginning.
executive session, could we do that first, perhaps?
Yeah, you could do that.
That's-
Well, wait a minute. Where's legal counsel? We had an issue. We had an issue with that to be at the beginning of the meeting. Well, you could do it by setting it now, but you'd have to make a motion to go into closed session at the beginning of the meeting. That
Yeah,
was the
I
point.
think we should just go ahead and wait on the put it at the end, because, yeah. I think, we'll have something else we can put at the beginning of the meeting. We don't have to put that.
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. Now you get the accounts receivable. You have
Yeah.
a few issues like that.
Yeah.
So. So that's what I'd recommend in terms of getting the meeting started.
Would 4:30 work for folks?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Move that we begin the January 16th meeting at 4:30 PM.
Okay. I guess I'd ask for public comment too, right?
Sure.
So, I'm new at this, but yeah. So any public comment on that? Move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. So anything else for calendar? Grab my. So, is there any other business that we need to do that I don't see on the
I'll move
agenda?
to-
We're all going to be at Wednesday's orientation? Is that the
Yeah.
plan? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.